Greetings and welcome to In-Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. FilmTT recently completed an intense fortnight of capacity building. Now, the fruits of that labor will be seen at the Toronto International Film Festival. Two of the major players behind that project, FilmTT General Manager Leslie and Wills-Caton, and award-winning filmmaker, writer, and cinematographer James Amuta, they share their insight into the rationale behind the project as well as potential impact. And I am looking at this and feeling so excited. And one of the things, because you're looking at the quality, but at the same time you also say, but I know that person, this is something that happened here. So let's start off with you, please, Ms. General Manager. Give us an idea of that 2-week intensive, an overview.
Thanks, DK. Well, it's actually, let's go back to it's a two-part process. So with James, we had the workshop, which happened in May, and then he was absolutely gracious in terms of being in Trinidad and Tobago in July, way beyond what what we asked. We asked for a lot more, and he graciously accommodated in coming to Trinidad to do a very intensive script to screen. So we were able to film the teaser for a feature film When the Monsters Come Out. And the main thing about it was really to get the filmmakers to be upskilled and to put themselves under the gun. And we were under the gun in terms of time. It was a very short turnaround. And we learned a lot. There was a lot of upskilling and learning that had to happen in terms of being able to film Gasbury Caves and the Procreate Fishing Facility, and really working with a group of filmmakers who were not familiar with certain elements of it, and then James being able to work with us along the process. But I will say it was very intense, and exactly the energy you see there is what's happened for the 3-day filming schedule, which in fact was supposed to be 6 days. So we were just really pushing to make it happen.
And it seems as though it did happen. Now, Mr. Amuta, I want to ask if it was the hardest sell for you to remain past the time that you were supposed to. But give me an idea of your experience with the team and the location task.
I'm a guerrilla filmmaker, so I'm used to working under very crazy conditions, very harsh conditions. My task is always to focus on the goal, which is the film, the end product. And most times so my approach to filmmaking is very different from what maybe people are used to. So the experience was good. Regardless, no matter what, I always see every opportunity to make a film with a team, especially a new team, as something that I should be proud about, something I should be proud of, because I get to learn a lot from the interaction. So I would say it was a very interesting experience, filming in Trinidad and Tobago and working with the talents there. One thing I can say for sure that got me really excited, the actors are really amazing. The actors have impeccable work ethics, and they're phenomenal people, very talented people. I enjoyed working with the actors. They were marvelous people. Abeyo, Ruby Paris, and Shea. Those guys were phenomenal. So the actors, the energy I got from the actors made the experience so much more fulfilling, I would say.
And I'm glad that you spoke about the actors before you single out a specific name, because you know sometimes when you call one name, the rest of the people say, but hey, what's happening with me? But you didn't have to climb Mount Kilimanjaro this time around, and you said that you are always, your mindset is to get the best out of a situation, and that is something to take with us in cinematography and life in general. But I saw a video of you just marveling at some of those scenes and the locations. What did the locations do for you, specifically getting to Gaspery Caves?
Wow. So the locations blew my mind, right? The locations were just, they were just so beautiful. Like, um, I never hid my feelings about what I felt about the country. That was why I actually had to come there in the first place to film, because I saw photos online. I said, here we must film here. We must film here. And Gaspery Cave was just, it was. I've been to some crazy exotic places, like you mentioned. I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, but walking into Gasper Cave, I was blown away. It was because I always try to tell filmmakers that your locations, if you get a good location, it enhances the production values of your film. So it starts with getting a great location, and Gasper Cave is unbelievable. It's an underwater cave. It's unimaginable, and I was blown away. Like I kept thinking, what else can I film here? What else can I do here? I was imagining the broad spectrum of all the creative endeavors that I can actually accomplish from within that cave. Glamour shoots for magazines, products, commercials in there. It was a lot. I'm like, okay,
And
this is something. This is something.
And Ms. Wills-Caton, how does this make you feel? Because I think you may be wearing different hats, one as general manager of FilmTT, but also as someone who's involved in film yourself, someone who's involved as a fixer dealing with locations. And what is your feedback? One, hearing what it is Mr. Amuta is saying at this point in time during the exercise, because you were there with him, and then feedback from other persons who were involved in the process.
For me personally, as a filmmaker, the intention with the workshop and the intention in terms of collaborating with James, it was to build the interest, to get the filmmakers re-energized in terms of content creation, and the love that James had shown for the Gaspery Caves and the Down the Islands experience really was to show filmmakers, let's think outside the box, let's find new and exotic locations and create content. And like how he mentioned, how do you see the commercial value in the space? What sort of product placement and companies you can collaborate with? So hearing James say exactly that really solidified the mission in terms of really getting someone to come in and see the space and wanting to create content. Now, from the filmmaker side, I will be honest, they did not expect.
And we will find out what it is they did not expect in just a bit. We take a short break. We come back with more. Stay with us. Welcome back. They say absence makes the heart grow fonder, so we don't want it to get too fond. So Ms. Wills-Caton is back with us, as well as Mr. Amuta, and we are looking at this 2 weeks. So there's something you said you did not expect, Ms. Wills-Caton. Continue from where we left off, thanks.
Yes, the expectation would have been with the filmmakers. So we had over 50 individuals upskilled, and we had persons agreeing to be line producers in training. And as much as James mentioned, he's a guerrilla filmmaker, we were very much, was a very short turnaround in terms of what we had to do. And it was intense with limited resources. We had very limited resources, very limited equipment. And what came out of it, the filmmakers all realized if we can do this within this short time frame, we can create content. And that's exactly the mission that's happened. And that's the mission we wanted to happen. And so now filmmakers reached out to me, they're registering their businesses, which is good, which is what we always advocate for. And they actually want us to do more training sessions in terms of being line producers and to create content. So it really had a beautiful multiplier effect, and it's currently ongoing.
And I really appreciate that, because normally your personality is positive, it's enthusiastic, but I think that smile is just a tad bit broader, looking at the outcome of the exercise and having people buy in and see what's in it for me. Because many times people ask, well, I guess I'll go, and it was all right. It's very different from here, man, when we're doing this again. But
Correct.
I do not want, it would be remiss of me to not ask you to spell it out, Mr. Amuta, because you've said it more than once, and you've spoken about guerrilla cinematography. So give us an idea of what guerrilla cinematography is versus other types. Thank you.
Well, so guerrilla filmmaking basically it's really not it's really not a thing. It's a state of mind for filmmakers and creatives. Like guerrilla filmmaking is a state of mind that says that, you know, we've got to make this film. We're not here to make excuses. We're not here to look for reasons why we can't make the film. We're here to make the film. Forge, break down walls, just make the film. So, well, yeah. So imagine the best analogy I can always come up with when I try to discuss guerrilla filmmaking is guerrilla warfare. Is unorthodox filmmaking. It's you having to work with what you have, with the resources you have, with the space you have available, with the talents available to you, and then maximize your output based on what's available. Just be creative, think outside the box, and don't limit yourselves. Don't make excuses. So it's from a budgetary standpoint, is approaching trying to create a big budget spectacle on a very tiny budget. You know, it's about multitasking. It's about working with a small crew to achieve what a crew 10 times the size would normally venture into such a film with. It's about using a fraction of your budget to achieve the same result. It's about working faster than others. It's very intense. It's not like Leslie Ann rightly said. This was a shoot that was supposed to last for 6 days, and 6 days was like, okay, we're trying to minimize the number of days because of budget and all. Normally, a shoot like that should typically take 15 days, at least 15 days, if not 20 or 21. But then here you're embracing the principles of guerrilla filmmaking. So you have to rehearse, you have to plan, you have to be sure, you have to storyboard your shots, you have to be sure of what you're going in to get, and you go in and you get it. So there's nobody's lagging behind. Everybody has got to be on top of their game. It's like a special strike team, like, you know, the Navy SEALs or something. So you go in, it's surgical, in, out, you know. So that's guerrilla filmmaking. It's not for the faint-hearted, you know, because, you know, you can't make excuses. You go and you get it, and then you get up. Once you get in there, you start improvising. This is not working. Okay, fine. We make this work. We pivot. But the end result, the most important thing is the film that we're trying to make, and you must make a good film. Oh, you're not just saying, oh, we're doing a guerrilla film, and then we just do it anyhow. No. That's
And I really think the amount of wanga and
production
that
value
was
must
shared
be
in
very
that,
high.
I think, is really something too, and once again, something that we can take through life as opposed to just saying cinematography. I know some people call it running and gunning as well, but some people might say that what you all were able to produce is an ends unto itself. But Ms. Wills-Caton, talk to me a little bit about T.O. in terms of like the Toronto International Film Festival. Thank you.
I wanted to let James talk about this because I want to pivot. What it is, it's a market screening due to the partnership we have with James. So I do want to let James talk about it because this is where he, based on the relationship, Trinidad and Tobago, we're extremely grateful for his partnership and what he would have been able to do regarding that TIFF market screening. So I would love to hand that over to.
All right. Mommy said a word to the wise is sufficient. Mr. Amuta, thank you very much.
I'm not. I only like talking about films. Screenings, not so much. So yeah.
I feel like he threw it back to Ms. Leslie.
No problem. So what would have happened? Now James has his feature film Black Harvest, which is doing a market screening at TIFF September the 13th. And then based on what we were able to do with When the Monsters Come Out as a teaser film, and then actually we were able to reshoot the 48-hour winning film that we would have done during the workshop, A Mother's Revenge, written by Penelope Spencer. We were able to do an additional market screening for those two films. And so what a market screening is, think about us as going with a product, and we would be going to distributors, buyers, companies that are willing to invest in Trinidad and Tobago. And we will be able now to say, have a look at these films and discuss partnerships, distribution options, co-production opportunities. We will talk to financiers. So it's important that Trinidad and Tobago go to TIFF with James to discuss the screening of the both projects, as well as support the Black Harvest feature film screening as well.
And it is always a pleasure to be able to have these sorts of conversations and just looking at the potential, looking at the way that individuals have been energized on the ground to say, okay, well, let us take our things forward. We see where we can go. We see how things can be implemented. We see how we can articulate our vision. And can I tell you, one of my favorite points of that, of the trailer was a piece of Foley when the same Abeyo that you mentioned, Mr. Amuta, drew on that bow and you hear that creak. I was like, yes, man, this thing's saying things. So I think we're going to get just a piece of it again, but we thank you very much for your time. James Amuta, Leslie Ann, Wills-Caton, and on behalf of the entire TTT News team, this has been In Depth with me, Dike Rostant. Thank you so much for joining us.